Right, so the Grenfell Tower disaster is still racking up victims almost 6 years on, it's sad to say, but not in the way you might perhaps think. As you may well remember from the news reporting of the day, the blaze that started from a faulty domestic appliance quickly spread via the cladding that had been installed on the outside of the block so as to make it more aesthetically pleasing to the wealthy occupants of other housing developments who looked at it, made their properties more saleable, I dare say, situated as it was in wealthy North Kensington. Though, of course, the residents of Grenfell and others like it showed that a wealthy area doesn't mean everybody shares in that wealth. 72 people died in that fire. The oldest was 84, the youngest just 6 months old. Much of the story since has been one of the Tory failures to rehouse the survivors in good time, the Grenfell Tower Inquiry, which has made various recommendations, still ongoing, of course, as it faced delays during the pandemic. But for the majority of us around the rest of the country, the biggest issue, especially for those living in tower blocks themselves, was whether that same cladding had been used on their buildings. And indeed it has been, along with hospitals and schools as well. Hundreds of thousands of people to this day are still living with that cladding, as the Tories haven't seen fit to get it torn off these buildings. We've learned a lot about this horrible stuff. It's flammability, the fact it failed fire regs but was used anyway. It failed building regs as well. The manufacturers of it misled the British Standards Board to get it approved. Warnings had been made about it before but had gone unheard. Sales continued with the manufacturer, Arconic, claiming it wasn't responsible for how its cladding was used. It just makes you sick still to think about it. And the criminality side of the story still to be investigated as the Met Police sit on it until the Grenfell Inquiry finally completes. But now there's been a new development. As it turns out, the cladding was also carcinogenic. It can cause cancer when burned, and the people worst affected by this have been the very people who risked their lives to save others during that fire, the heroic firefighters who dealt with the blaze. Around a dozen firefighters are now known to have been diagnosed with rare stomach cancers or leukemia. It could be more. Research in that is still ongoing, but thanks to analysis done on the soil surrounding the tower block in the aftermath of the fire, along with debris and char samples taken from the remains of the cladding, it has been discovered that there are heightened levels of cancer causing chemicals within 200 meters of the site. 200 meters of it. Sadly, some of these cancer cases are terminal. These are not old men either. Firefighters are not old men, typically. We're talking guys in their 40s, my age. And that's terrifying. Along with cancers, others have suffered from strokes, kidney failure, heart disease, and more. Some have ongoing lung issues, notably scarring of the lungs, and left with what they've colloquially called Grenfell cough, where they even cough up blood. One individual had that so bad that at their routine medical, their lung function had gone down so much, they were taken off active duty. Only now are the health ramifications being collected. So how did they end up like this? They have PPE after all, do they not? They have breathing apparatus. When you see firefighters on the news, they look well protected, don't they? So how did this happen? First, we know the blaze took some considerable time to bring under control, around 24 hours. And we all remember the firefighters from news reports and photos of the scenes, sitting in their protective gear, taking breaks when they could, covered head to toe in soot and carbon, some for up to 10 hours, exhausted. Others were stuck in the tower, horrifically dangerous situations for extended periods of time, and ran out of air, leaving them to breathe in the toxins. Others were having to wait in toxic atmospheres for instruction. A 2019 study for the Fire Brigade Union was conducted by the University of Central Lancashire, and that has revealed that firefighters are twice as likely to develop cancer if they end up with soot in their nose and throat. If they remain in their contaminated gear for more than 4 hours, they are also twice as likely to get diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lives. 4% of firefighters surveyed have had a cancer diagnosis. And actually, it's worth pointing out that this research was not unique to Grenfell, but to firefighters around the country. That this is amongst the general population of firefighters in the country. And yet, when compared to the general population, the rest of us, in the age bracket 35 to 39, for example, young people, their chance of developing cancer was 323% higher. Firefighters involved at Grenfell fear the government will ignore this, claiming no link between their illnesses and their job, lest they have to take some responsibility there. But it seems pretty emphatic there is, and that research was done nearly 4 years ago. This isn't a recent discovery, but what has been done to improve the equipment and safe working practices for our firefighters since then? About as much as has been done about this cladding. It's always the same, isn't it? Claps for our heroes, praise and adulation, but never anything meaningful to help them do their jobs as safely as possible and with reduced risks. Firefighting is a dangerous job. It's got to be up there with the most dangerous professions going. Seems quite obvious to us, surely. But surely decontamination, change of gear at regular intervals during prolonged call-outs, better gear or development thereof, to always strive to improve it if it's not completely infallible, should be the least they expect for the valuable service they do for us and the risks they take personally to do it, including for their own health. Along with more intensive and regular medical screening, of course, because until pats on the back can cure cancer, this is yet another area the Tories are failing both the firefighters themselves and the public they serve. As the fire brigade have pointed out, in addition to all of this as well, though, the victims of those fires are just as susceptible to developing something nasty as they are and need screening regularly too, following such events. There's a huge amount to do here, and it's a story that's not gaining a huge amount of traction, but should. And is one more reminder that the Tories are still dragging their feet with regards to getting that cladding removed, wherever it is found. Solidarity to all firefighters and a big thank you for everything you guys do.